What's up, everybody? Smyers here. Today I want to show you how to make the bass to Crystallized by John Summits, and if you do want to grab the preset to the sound, you can find it in my Patreon. Now, before I get started today, please go ahead and give this video a like and make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. So that is the bass sound. Now this bass reminds me a lot of the Complextro bass that was really popular in like maybe the early 2010s or so, where it's like this heavily sidechained bass and it's got this like electro feel. So the MIDI, in order for me to figure out the MIDI, I slowed the track down and then just tried to figure out all the MIDI notes because there's a lot of MIDI notes going on. And essentially what you can do is you can just, if you want to figure out the notes of a bass, what like, and if it's like kind of complicated, like this track where there's a lot going on, you can extract the bass using Ableton. Now has a stem separator you can use, or any other like stem separation plugin or website. You can extract the bass and then slow down the bass by just going up here and slowing down the tempo, and then that will help you identify the MIDI notes a lot easier. So I did my best trying to figure out all the MIDI notes, but this is what I came up with. I think it's pretty close. There's some things where I'm hearing like the sidechain going on and I couldn't tell if it was actually like a note there or like two notes. So this is, I guess, the best estimate of what I could come up with for this track. And then for the actual sound, instead of trying to figure out from scratch, I thought, what if I just start with a preset? So I wanted to start with a Complextro preset that is in the Serum default preset collection, because it had these two wavetables, which are similar to, if I go into, let's just open up a new track here. And if I go into my spectral wavetables here, and let's go into all these spectral wavetables, like those Complextro wavetables in that preset are similar to those wavetables in the spectral wavetables. So you could just go into here and start off using one of these wavetables and try to come up with a similar Complextro bass sound. So what I did though is I just went to the factory preset, the S1 presets, that's where it is because I'm in the Serum 2 now. Bass, and I believe it was bass hard and Complextro 1. And this was my starting point. Now, of course, there is this LFO1 that has the sidechain on, so I'm just going to take this off. I'll bypass it for now. And then that was my starting point. Then I just added on my own kickstart to get that pumping effect in Complextro. And then from there wasn't really any portamento I could hear, so I'm just going to take that off. Then there was this macro knob for adjusting these wavetables, so you can see it adjusts these wavetables. I took it up to about 26. And then what you can do now in Serum 2 is you can right click and do apply and delete macro. So now I don't have to deal with that macro anymore. Then for my sub, this sub is going through the filter. You can see up here it's going through the filter. I changed this to a square wave, took this level down. Then the bass sounded a lot wider in John Summit's track, so I took this oscillator A, turned on two voices of unison, took down this detune, took down this level to, let's say, about there. Then I set the detune to the same amount on my oscillator B to 0.07. Took this one down a little bit further. Then I did want to add a sub in here that was direct out. And instead of just changing this one and then adding a square wave to oscillator C, I just went to oscillator C. Let's take that randomness down, change it to a sine wave, leave that level there, and then just click up here and take this one to direct out. And of course, take my octave to -2. Then I just took this filter off because I didn't want to use it. And now I'm going to go into the effects. There's a lot of effects on here that I didn't really want to use. So let's go through and take off some of these. Let's take off the compressor. Don't need the reverb. Don't need this filter. And then we'll just use this as the starting point. So I wanted to use a different distortion. Let's add on this diode distortion. Take up this drive pretty high. Kind of loud right now, so let's add on a post filter because his bass I didn't feel was like that bright. To about there, and then let's make some adjustments to this EQ, and this is really just to get it to fit similar to his track. And let's take this volume back up. And then adjust this filter a bit. And then that's really it. That's all that I did to get to this bass for Crystallized. I think the hardest parts for this bass was actually just like figuring out that MIDI. So that is just something that what you can do, like I was saying, just make sure your track is on warp mode, set to the tempo, and then slow down the tempo. And then it's a lot easier to figure out every single note that is happening.